Anatomy of a Fall is a film about how vision organizes facts. Director Justine Triet employs an extraordinarily rational approach to visual composition, turning seeing into the film's central evidence. Every visual arrangement becomes an argument. Every composition is not a mere act of framing, but an architectural setup for interrogation. One of the film's two core spatial areas, the home is defined by a vertically stratified structure, the study upstairs and the living room below. This vertical axis recurs throughout the film, as the relative height of characters visually corresponds to their social and familial authority. Triet frequently positions the camera midway on the staircase, enabling both levels to appear within a single frame. The viewer occupies this midpoint, neither the one in control nor the one being controlled. Through composition, ambiguous standpoint becomes a geometric condition, the dialectic between above and below, dominance and submission, looking down and looking up. Thus, framing in this film is never neutral. It is a rhetorical device, an instrument for posing visual hypotheses and counter-arguments. Early flashbacks employ strict symmetrical composition set. The dining table, the hugs, or in family gatherings. These symmetrical frames convey a sense of domestic order and equilibrium. After the husband's death, however, Triet deliberately breaks this visual balance. Sandra is often placed at the edge of the frame, leaving an empty space on the opposite side. This visual vacancy functions as a signifier of absence and image of emotional displacement and familial imbalance. In contrast, the courtroom scenes return to strict symmetry. The prosecution and defense occupy either side, with Sandra positioned precisely in the center. This is an institutional symmetry, formally balanced but emotionally hollow. Here, composition performs a conceptual shift from domestic order to judicial order. Symmetry no longer conveys harmony but becomes a cold, structural logic, reflecting the oppressive solemnity of the legal system that now frames Sandra's life. Framing composition subtly reflects interpersonal relationships. In the early part of the film, when Sandra converses with her lawyer, the two are often separated by a window frame or pillar each, occupying one side of the image, divided by a vertical line. This visual division conveys coexistence through distance, symbolizing professional detachment and emotional restraint. By the film's end, when trust and emotional intimacy emerge, the framing changes. The two are placed within a single, open shot, unobstructed by columns or window panes. With a simplified background, the removal of visual barriers signifies the dissolution of psychological ones. The absence of framing marks a movement from guarded separation to subtle connection, leaving an open-ended suggestion about the evolution of their relationship. Another subtle yet crucial strategy in Anatomy of a Fall is curved composition. Before the son discovers his father's death, we see him walking home through the snow. The winding hillside and the stretching bridge form the curves and leading lines. Within the composition, this curvature directs the viewer's gaze toward the unseen, extending visual weight into off-screen space and building narrative tension. Later, after the trial ends, Sandra drives home along a curved mountain road. Here, the curved line becomes the visual metaphor for psychological turbulence. It conveys anxiety, hesitation, and unresolved doubt. Moreover, the road's curve suggests that the narrative itself remains non-linear and open-ended through these arcs. Triet transforms composition into a cognitive process. Truth-seeking becomes a winding journey. In Anatomy of a Fall, composition itself becomes testimony. We are guided by the image as though under interrogation, and the film answers geometrically. Truth is not singular, it is a structure built from perspective and space.
needed to see things the way you described them, but if I'd been seeing a therapist, he could stand here too and say very ugly things about Samuel, but would those things be true?